Today, we are counting down the top 5 features of the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra. And this phone is interesting because it doesn't look like a normal upgrade. It looks like OnePlus asked a dangerous question. What happens if we take the already powerful OnePlus Ace 6, then improve the battery, push the performance, sharpen the design, and make it feel even more extreme? The answer may be this phone. And if you know the OnePlus Ace 6T, you'll notice something else. This Ultra model isn't just following the lineup, it's trying to dominate it. So today we count down from feature number 5 all the way to feature number 1, and feature number 1 could be the reason power users instantly notice this phone. So don't skip, because each feature builds toward the bigger picture. Let's begin with feature number 5. Feature number 5 is the design. And some people underestimate design until they hold the phone. Because specs on paper don't tell you how a device feels, in the hand, in the pocket, on the desk, or during daily use. The OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra comes with a large frame, 162.5mm tall, 77.5mm wide, and 8.5mm thick, or 8.7 depending on finish. So yes, this is not a compact phone. This is a full-size performance device, and the weight 207 grams or 219 grams in the Metal Storm version. That means when you lift it, you feel presence, you feel substance, you feel hardware. Some users love lighter phones, but others want something that feels serious. This feels serious. Build materials. You get crystal shield glass on the front, an aluminum frame, and either a glass back or eco leather. That gives two personalities. One version feels sleek, reflective, modern. The other feels softer, more grip-friendly, more premium lifestyle. And that matters because phones are personal objects. You touch them constantly, you carry them daily. So materials matter more than many people admit. Compared to Ace 6 and Ace 6T, now compare this to the OnePlus Ace 6. That phone already felt premium. Glass front, glass back, aluminum frame. But the Ultra feels more intentional, more mature, and compared to the OnePlus Ace 6T, that model introduced alternate back materials and ceramic-like coating ideas, but the Ultra feels like refinement. Less experimental, more flagship. Protection levels? Now here is where things become aggressive. You get IP66, IP68, IP69, and IP69K ratings. That is a lot. What does it mean? It means protection from dust, protection from water immersion, protection from splashes, and even resistance to high-pressure water jets. This is not ordinary mid-range confidence. This is use your phone in real-life confidence. Rainstorm, less stress. Dusty conditions, less stress. Accidental spill, less stress. Why this matters in real use. People focus on processors, but durability changes ownership. A fragile phone changes behavior. You baby it, you worry. You become cautious. But a tougher phone feels freer. You use it naturally. You trust it more. That changes the relationship. Comfort trade-off. Now, let's be honest. At over 217 grams, this is not feather light. If you want ultralight comfort, you may prefer thinner, lighter devices. But weight often comes with a larger battery, stronger cooling, more hardware. So the heaviness here feels purposeful. So, feature number 5 is not flashy. It's not a benchmark score. It's not megapixels. It is premium confidence. The kind of design that tells you this phone was built for power users, but strong design alone doesn't make a great phone. Because every time you wake the screen, you meet the next feature. And feature number 4 is one of the first things you notice. Feature number 4 is the display, and for many users, this may be the most important feature because it is what you interact with every single day. The OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra uses a 6.78-inch AMOLED panel with 1 billion colors, and that already sounds premium, but numbers only begin the story. You also get 165 Hz refresh rate. That is extremely high. What does that mean? It means motion feels smoother, scrolling feels faster, animations feel cleaner, and gaming can feel more responsive when supported. Even simple tasks can feel elevated. Once you use high refresh rate displays, standard 60 Hz often feels old, and even 120 Hz can feel less fluid compared to something tuned well at 165 Hz. Compared to older models, the OnePlus Ace 6 already had 165 Hz, so OnePlus clearly knew this mattered. The OnePlus Ace 6T also continued it, but the Ultra takes that familiar smoothness and combines it with stronger hardware. For a more complete experience, resolution and sharpness with around 450 pixels per inch. That means text is sharp, icons are crisp, photos look detailed, and daily reading feels clean. No obvious softness, no cheap panel feeling. You also get 800 nits, typical brightness, and 1800 nits high brightness mode. That matters outdoors. When sunlight hits your screen, brightness becomes usability. You don't want to shade the phone with your hand every few seconds. You want visibility, and this helps. You also get HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision. That means supported content can look richer. Better highlights, more dramatic contrast, and more cinematic color. If you stream movies, watch YouTube, or binge shows, this matters. The display also uses PWM dimming. That matters to users sensitive to flicker, especially at lower brightness. For some people, it can improve comfort during night use. Real-world scenarios, imagine commuting, checking maps, watching clips, replying to messages, reading comments, all of that happens through the display. So when the display is great, the entire phone feels better. That is why screens matter so much. Compared to competitors, some phones win on processor, but lose on screen. Others win on camera, but cut corners on panel quality. OnePlus clearly decided the display must remain a strength. So, feature number 4 is a display that feels fast, bright, sharp, and enjoyable daily. It turns ordinary use into premium use. But smooth scrolling means little if the phone stutters under pressure. And this next feature is where the Ultra begins flexing. Feature number 3 is performance. And this is where the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra starts separating itself from ordinary phones, because many devices look fast until you push them, open many apps, game for long sessions, edit, video record screen, use split screen, run background downloads. That is when weak phones reveal themselves, but the Ace 6 Ultra was clearly designed for pressure. The chipset, this phone uses the MediaTek Dimensity 9500, built on a 3nm process. That immediately tells performance users something important, so let's look deeper. CPU layout. You get an aggressive CPU setup, 1 prime core, 3 premium performance cores, and 4 efficiency cores. That means the phone can behave intelligently. For light tasks, it uses less power. For heavy tasks, it can unleash serious speed. So whether you're replying to messages or rendering demanding workloads, the phone adjusts. Real-world speed. What does that mean in practice? It means apps should launch fast, large games should load quickly, switching between many apps should feel immediate, multitasking should remain responsive, and daily use should feel expensive. Because true speed is not only benchmark numbers, it is the absence of waiting. No hesitation, no delay, no awkward pause after tapping. Compared to older mid-range phones, if you're upgrading from a normal mid-range device, the difference may feel dramatic. This is the kind of upgrade you notice daily compared to the OnePlus Ace 6. Now here is where things get interesting. The OnePlus Ace 6 used Snapdragon 8 Elite. That was already serious flagship power. So OnePlus did not need to improve much, but they still moved forward. The Ultra shifts to Dimensity 9500, suggesting confidence. They believe this chip can compete and possibly optimize differently for thermals, battery, or pricing. So this is not a downgrade mindset. It is a strategic move compared to the Ace 6T. The OnePlus Ace 6T used Snapdragon 8 Gen 5, also strong. But the Ultra again pushes higher positioning. Everything about the Ultra says top-of-the-line Ace series GPU power. You also get the Mali G1 Ultra MC12 GPU for gamers. That matters. Graphics power affects frame rates, visual quality, and stability under load. So titles like PUBG Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, and high refresh esports games should feel right at home. High refresh plus high power combo. And remember, this phone has a 165Hz display. So strong graphics performance combined with a fast panel creates a smoother gaming feel. That pairing matters. A powerful chip on a weak display is incomplete. A great display with weak power is frustrating. The Ace 6 Ultra tries to balance both. Storage speed, you also get UFS 4.1 storage. That helps more than people realize. Fast storage means quicker installs, faster file transfers, better app loading, and less waiting after tapping. And over time, it helps the phone feel newer for longer. RAM options, you can configure 12GB RAM, 16GB RAM, and storage up to 1TB. That means power users, creators, gamers, and heavy file users all have options. Thermal expectations, now performance means little if heat ruins it while exact sustained testing varies. Phones of this class usually require serious cooling. And because the Ace 6 Ultra is physically large and heavy, that often helps provide internal space for stronger thermal solutions. So the size may actually support the power. Who this feature is for, if you only text, browse lightly, you may never need this much power. But if you game daily, edit content, multitask heavily, use emulators, or keep phones for years, then strong internals matter. Longevity advantage 1, underrated benefit of flagship chips is aging better. A phone that is overpowered today may feel comfortable tomorrow. As apps become heavier, as software grows, as expectations rise. This kind of performance can help long-term ownership. So feature number 3 is monster performance. Not gimmick performance, the kind that makes the entire phone feel faster, but speed alone does not make a phone memorable. Because after gaming, after multitasking, after benchmarks, you still need power to keep going. And that leads to feature number 2. Feature number 2 is battery life, and for many real users, this may be the most important feature in the entire phone, because a phone can have elite performance, amazing display, great cameras, but if the battery constantly dies, the experience suffers. And the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra does not play small here. It comes with an 8,600 mAh silicon carbon battery. That number alone gets attention. Why 8,600 mAh matters? Most mainstream phones still sit around 5,000 mAh. Some larger phones, maybe 6,000 mAh. So when you see 8,600 mAh, you immediately understand this phone is trying to become a battery monster. And battery capacity affects freedom. How often you charge, how confidently you leave home, how long you game, how much screen time you can enjoy without anxiety. Silicon carbon advantage. This is also a silicon carbon battery. That matters because newer battery tech can help brands fit more capacity into practical phone sizes. So instead of making the device absurdly thick, they can push higher numbers more intelligently. That's one reason phones like this exist. Real-world daily use, what could 8,600 mAh mean in practice for lighter users? It could mean multiple days. For average users, a very comfortable full day with reserve left. For heavy users, gaming, hotspot use, navigation, video streaming, it could mean surviving workloads that drain smaller phones quickly. There is also something underrated. Battery confidence changes behavior. When your battery is weak, you check percentages constantly, lower brightness, avoid certain apps, carry power banks, ration usage, but with a huge battery, you use the phone naturally. That changes ownership. Compare this to OnePlus Ace 6, which already had 7,800 mAh, and that was impressive. So OnePlus could have stopped there, but they didn't. They moved to 8,600 mAh. That's a serious jump. And it signals battery leadership compared to the Ace 6T. The OnePlus Ace 6T had 8,300 mAh, also excellent, but the Ultra still climbs higher. So across the lineup, the Ultra becomes the battery king. Heavy user scenarios. Imagine this. You wake up early, use maps to commute. Bluetooth audio all morning, social media at lunch, camera use outside, gaming, later videos at night. And you're still not panicking. That's the appeal. Travel advantage. If you travel, this matters even more. Airports, road trips, long days out, unstable charging access. Large batteries reduce stress. Creator advantage: if you create content, shoot clips, edit videos, upload over mobile data, use hotspot, then battery becomes productivity. And huge capacity becomes useful, not just impressive. Charging power: now a huge battery would be frustrating if charging was slow. But OnePlus includes 120 watts wired charging. That changes everything. It means when you do need power, you can refill aggressively. Why fast charging matters. Some phones last long, but recharge slowly. So when they die, you wait, but fast charging reduces downtime. Plug in while showering, while eating before leaving, and gain meaningful battery quickly. PPS plus PD support. You'll also get PPS support and PD support. That improves charger compatibility and flexibility with different adapters. Large battery plus fast charging combo. This combination is powerful. Long endurance plus fast recovery. That means you need charging less often, and when you do, it hurts less. Weight trade-off. Now let's be honest, a battery this size often contributes to weight. And yes, this phone is over 217 grams. So the battery likely helps explain that, but many users will gladly trade weight for endurance. Competitive impact. If rivals launch with 5,000 milliampere hour, 5,500 milliampere hour, maybe 6,000 milliampere hour, the Ace 6 Ultra stands out immediately. Because battery specs are easy to understand. Everyone understands more battery can mean more freedom. Long-term battery thinking: as batteries age over time, starting with a huge capacity can help. Even after natural degradation, you may still have comfortable endurance. So feature number 2 is not just battery size, it is battery confidence, battery dominance, and for many users, that alone could be a deciding factor. But even monster battery life is not the most exciting thing here, because feature number 1 may decide whether this feels merely powerful or genuinely premium. Feature number 1, and the best feature of the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra, is not one single spec. It is the total package, because some phones win on camera and lose on battery, some win on power and lose on thermals, some win on design and feel overpriced. But this phone looks like it was built to deliver balance at scale. Why total experience matters. When people buy phones, they often chase one number: megapixels, benchmarks, charging watts, refresh rate, but after 1 week, what matters changes: how smooth it feels, how reliable it feels, how often it needs charging, how fast it opens apps, how enjoyable the screen feels, how dependable it is daily. That is where package phones win, and the Ace 6 Ultra looks like a package phone. Now let's talk cameras. You get a 50 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization. That matters more than random megapixel marketing. OIS helps steadier shots, better low light support, and smoother handheld video. You also get an 8 megapixel ultra wide. That gives flexibility. Landscapes, buildings, group photos, tighter rooms, travel moments. So while this is not a 4-camera monster, it still covers practical needs. Why this camera setup makes sense. OnePlus may have made a smart decision here. Instead of overspending on unnecessary sensors, they focus resources elsewhere. Performance battery display. That means buyers who care more about speed than telephoto zoom may actually prefer this approach. Compared to Ace 6 and Ace 6T cameras, the OnePlus Ace 6 had a similar dual camera concept. The OnePlus Ace 6T also stayed practical, so OnePlus clearly understands the Ace audience. This line prioritizes performance value, not pretending to be ultra camera first, and that consistency matters. Video recording: you get 4K at 30 and 60 FPS and 1080p up to 240 FPS. So everyday video, travel clips, social media content, and slow motion all remain practical. With gyro EIS, you also gain extra stabilization help. Selfie camera. The front camera is 16 megapixels, enough for calls, stories, quick content, and casual use. This again supports the theme. Audio experience. You also get stereo speakers. That matters daily, watching videos, gaming calls on speaker, music casually. Stereo sound feels richer than single bottom speakers. Connectivity strength. You also get Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6.0, NFC infrared, and strong satellite positioning support. This matters because premium experience is also convenience. Fast wireless, quick pairing, tap payments, remote control features, reliable navigation, security plus sensors. You get an ultrasonic and display and fingerprint scanner. That is a premium touch. Many cheaper phones still use slower or less refined methods. So unlocking should feel modern. Price shock value. Now here is where this phone gets dangerous. The listed price around €440. If that pricing holds reasonably close for the offered hardware, this becomes aggressive value, because you're talking about flagship level performance, huge battery, fast charging, 165Hz display, premium build at pricing below many flagships. Who should buy this phone? If you're a gamer, this phone makes sense. If you hate charging often, this phone makes sense. If you want speed without flagship tax, this phone makes sense. If you care more about performance than fancy zoom cameras, this phone makes sense. Who might skip it? If you want compact phones, this may feel large. If you want ultralight phones, this may feel heavy. If camera versatility is your top priority, you may prefer dedicated camera flagships, but for its target audience, it looks sharp. That is why feature number 1 is the total experience. No single spec wins alone, but together they become compelling. So after counting down all 5 features, the OnePlus Ace 6 Ultra looks like a phone built for people who understand priorities. It says, give me power, give me battery, give me speed, give me a great display, give me durability, and keep the price aggressive. That is a dangerous formula. Compared to the OnePlus Ace 6, the Ultra pushes battery higher and refreshes the performance identity. Compared to the OnePlus Ace 6T, it continues the huge battery direction, but aims even higher. So, is it for everyone? No. But for power users, it could be one of the smartest phones in its class. If you enjoyed this top 5 countdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more smartphone breakdowns, comparisons, and hidden value phones like this one.